What's up, everybody? How are you? Welcome to the segment of Real Talk Chronicles. I'm your host, Bill Forster. It's been a minute, a lot of personal stuff and family stuff going on. So, that's what's happening. And, got to take care of priorities. That's just what it is, right? And everything is good, though, for the most part. I can't complain. Just doing what we're supposed to do on this side, family first. And that's just how it's going. You know, excuse me, I'm just trying to adjust things and get things back in order the way they're supposed to be. Yeah, but how's everybody doing? It's the eve before Thanksgiving. Are you all are you big Thanksgiving people? I'm not. I'm not a big holiday person, and it's okay. I mean, don't have to be, but this is what you know. I mean, people are very festive and they believe in what they're doing and they enjoying the family and stuff like that. And I'm all for that. Like you like it, I love it. Sometimes my life is so busy. I I need kind of to chill. You know what I'm trying to say? I need to chill. So I say all that, and that's what I do. Monday coming up, I got a great show with a man I've known for a long time. The creator of Daily Arts of Survival magazine will have an in-depth conversation about who he is, how he started that, and you know his martial arts background and where he's from, and we'll cover the whole from A to Z with him. I'm looking forward, definitely looking forward to that interview. Um, First of the month, of course, Assemblyman Al Taylor. The second of the month is Dr. Marilyn Corder. I was just talking to a friend of mine. They have like RSV or something like that. So we'll ask the doctor in detail about that. What is that? I guess it has like flu-like symptoms, COVID-S kind of things. Um, the third of the month is Allison. The fourth is Malika and I. Unless we try, maybe going in the new year, I'll try to change it up. I can come on a lot of times and just converse with you by myself, but sometimes, and trust me, I don't mind talking to you, but I just figured, there's other stuff you want to hear. Darren, what's going on? Tonight, my boys will be coming in, and we're going to talk about some things. Malika wanted me to keep it real holiday-ish, but there's a things that's happening in this country. Of course, we can talk about Israel and the Palestinians. We know what's going on with that. People are so disrespectful and what's going on. So it always comes down to like the David and Goliath kind of mentality. But what's being what's put out there, we don't control the media, so we have to be very careful of what we hear and read. And sometimes you got to do your own homework to find out what is really out there for you to get your information. Um, what's up, D? Yeah, absolutely. Real talk is real talk. Absolutely, my brother. And but I always want to come and give you authenticity and good stuff. Everybody and their mother got a podcast now, but I'm trying to give you real conversation about stuff. Sharon, what's going on? Happy holidays to you. I'm trying to give you all real conversation and stuff of that magnitude. I don't want to give you fluff. I want to give you stuff that's real authentic. Tonight I definitely want to talk about elephant. We cannot ignore what's happened in Atlanta with the pastor. What happened? I missed that. I wasn't next to I didn't check my phone. Please enlighten me, because I'll talk about that too. What happened with the pastor? Um, there was something else I saw on the news that I wanted to discuss with you all. I mean, I got a hot hour, so I don't know a lot of things that are out there. I could search my phone. Hey, Malika, it's good to see you here too. But let me see. There's so much that's going on in this country. Uh, the black officer tased him and he died. I didn't even hear that. Did that happen today? Let me know if that happened today. I'll look it up right now as we're speaking, and I'll read what happened. Like, and that's what my segment is tonight. In lieu of Abdul, what's good, brother? That's what my segment is tonight. When we have these police encounters with the community. Now, this new generation is just fighting. They're fighting anytime they get a chance. Our older generation, we understood. Hey, Cheryl, happy holidays. Our old generation, Dana, what's up, niece? Our old generation understood that there was a kind of respect given to law enforcement. Even if we thought the man wasn't right, there was still a level of respect. Even, kind of like our parents. Sometimes we didn't agree with our parents, but we never would disrespect them. And we got to a point where it was like, okay, if you start to disrespect your parents, you got to leave your house. But right now, you got people fighting law enforcement. Eddie, what's up, brother? Absolutely, it happened in August. Oh, I gotta check that out, Darren. You gotta, bring that to my attention. If you find it, just send it to me and I'll look at it right now. I'll read it. I'll wait for the fellas to come in. But I feel like there's a level of disrespect right now that's become acceptable. I don't think. What's up, Scott? Happy heavenly birthday to Grandma. I saw that. I gotta pay all respects to that. Shout out to the birthday people, the people that had their birthdays. Scorpio season is gone. Sagittarians, you're up to bat. Enjoy it, because what's coming next, Capricorn. But we ain't gonna rush it. We want the Sagittarians to live and embrace their moment. So what I'm seeing right now is that it's acceptable to fight law enforcement. And I'm wondering why that has become. Now, listen, we can sit here and talk about all the situations that have happened. I got you, Darren. I see it. We could talk about all the situations that have happened in the past to people of color. But this new generation, when I've spoken to them, couldn't tell me anything about historically what has transpired with people of color, the police brutality. So now it's like flavor in the air, like, yo, I'm not taking it. I'm not about that. So when the police confronts them, right, wrong, and indifferent, they fight. And people are taping it like they're shooting at police now. And I'm not talking about New York, because you got to really look at the news all over the world, especially when you're sitting like this and you want to be a conduit for information. You have to look at information that's being spewed out there. But I look at videos of people shooting at law enforcement like with no regards. So now we're like, okay, like there was just a video. I wish I would have set it up more technology wise. There was a video of a man on 42nd Street in Manhattan He walks up to the officer and tries to take his gun. They're struggling, they're fighting. There's an officer on the train. I don't know if you saw it. And if you didn't, I'll send it to you. A police officer, I guess he gets into a situation, altercation with two, I think, young male blacks, and they're fighting. They're like on the top of like those outdoor train stations, and they're giving him the business. And there is no regard for fighting law enforcement. And I think the Bronx refused to prosecute. That's a whole nother topic. I don't even know what that's all about. You're refusing to prosecute. There was a time when getting involved with the law enforcement, hitting the law enforcement, I think it's still with transit, is considered like a felony. It's a crime, a civil servant. So for them to now not uh, decline to prosecute makes no sense, you know. So I don't know what's happening here. Uh, I think it's sad. I think things are just headed for the worst. Um, Hold on, I'm just reaching out to the guys. So you know, I think I wanted. That's why I wanted to discuss that elephant in the room because things are totally different now, where people would just feel like it's okay. I mean, before you would be in the background and you spew all your hatred to an officer, but you dare not touch him. Just like back in the days, it was you didn't shoot cops because you knew everybody and your mother was coming after you. Right now, seems like that's okay. Like we'll shoot at a cop, we'll we'll fight a cop, and cops are stuck now. I get it. Who's to blame for this? Do you blame the media? Do you blame people want to blame the Dems? Republicans are this way. You know, we got another dude that he'll always spew hatred to anybody against law enforcement, but he's not a good dude in his own right. But I'm really perplexed by what I'm seeing out there, and I wanted to discuss it. Uh, Yo, Dwayne, what's good, brother? Thank you. Happy holidays to you too. Shout out to my man D Lee in the building, former 2-8. You know, mighty 2-8's in the building. And you know, D, what's your thoughts? What's everybody's thoughts out there? Do you think we law enforcement has lost all respect? What's up, John Cross? I see you in the building. That law enforcement has lost all respect, and John and Jane Q. Public now have just felt like they can do whatever they want to do to law enforcement. What would you think law enforcement should do? Should they go back to a heavy hand? It seems like the powers that be have have said that like that's not cool anymore. But wait a minute, I'm not. I don't think anybody here is co-signing a child beating their parents' ass. So law enforcement is here for something, and for them to get into altercations where people feel like it's okay to fight a law. Now, let me tell you something. I have a few law enforcement people that's here with me today. Trust me, they would tell you just as I would tell you during our era. Excuse me, that wouldn't happen. You can swing on us, but trust me, you would be in the hospital. That's not happening. Yeah, definitely, D. Like my man Dwayne said, a heavier hand is definitely needed. Like, yo, John Cross, what's your thoughts, man? I mean, like, you and I talk all the time. We already know, like, this would never happen on our watch. You know, if you want to fight the police, go ahead, but trust and believe. As we used to have a little saying, like a turban. You know, you're going to the hospital with a turban on, or you're coming back from the hospital with a turban. You're not going to swing on us and think it's all right. No, no, not at all. And I don't get what this new generation, what their ideology is. I don't know who's talking to them. I really don't. I don't know who's in their ear. I don't know if it's social media. I don't know. Do we blame the parents? Could that be part of it? The parents, like, you know, not raising your kids to a certain standard of respect. So, I mean, think about it. My thing is, if you're fighting law enforcement, people that can kill you, what are you doing with your loved ones at home? Like, that's, hey Marlene, happy holidays. Um, that's where the you know, I see I think, hey Rochelle, I see. See, you know, that's where I'm kind of confused with this. Like talk. I mean, think about us. This age group that I see in here with me now. When we talk to our parents, when we talk to our teachers a certain way, we knew we wasn't talking to our parents that way. You know what I'm trying to say? So I see ties in the building. Let me see if I can add. What's up, good brother?
What's going on, brother?
How you
My
feeling, man?
apologies.
Oh, it's all good,
Uh,
brother. It's the holiday season. You know, it's the holiday
yeah,
season.
I was. Yes, yes, I was picked my brother up from the airport and was running
That's
to
what's
the
up.
house.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
so the question that I put out there in the universe is that right now we see a brazen attack on law enforcement where people, you know, John and Jane Q. Public are fighting back. Now I can understand where people have had developed a disdain for law enforcement, but that was a disdain years ago, all the way to the day. You know what I'm saying? Like, but we never fought back. You know, when people fought us on our watch, we knew that was a problem. That was the worst thing they could have ever did. My thing is now, it seems like it's become the norm where Jane and John Q. Public fight law enforcement or even shoot at us now, and they think it's all right. What's your thought process on that, Ty?
Well, for one, the ability for them to be able to film the interaction kind of gave people a platform to realize that there were, even though it's always been said that there were police out there and law enforcement out there that was unfair, that weren't being that were being biased when they would stop people and how they were treating people of color. And now that a lot of in a lot more situations, you'll see people being able to film it, and the internet gave it a bigger platform for it to go not only national but worldwide. And the change in laws, where laws were changed and individuals weren't prosecuted the same as they were in the past. You know, so I think a lot of that gave a society a platform to be able to act out the way they do.
Yeah, and that's a good point. I mean, shout out to Nathan Ingram. For those, I will be interviewing him Monday on the 27th. Please chime in. That's the creator of the Daily Arts of Survival magazine, longtime martial artist practitioner, uh, uh, former New Yorker, credentials out to Quazoo. It is my pleasure. He is one of our sponsors, so you will see down at the caption. He's there. Shout out to Classic Black Photography is in the building. They do all our photography for the brunch party. One of the photographers, but he's the main one. So shout out to him chiming in. This is Real Talk Chronicles. I got my man Ty Butler in the building. And the discussion and the topic right now that we're discussing is, has it gone too far right now with the disrespect to law enforcement? Usually, a lot of times we talk about how law enforcement is disrespecting people of color and stuff like that, or they could be just people in general sometimes. But right now, we have people just fighting to fight, and we have people shooting just to shoot at law enforcement. And my thing is, how did it start? How do we stop it? What do we do? You can blame any politician or any political background. That's your choice. I'm not here to tell you you're right or wrong on who you want to say blame it on. I just want to find out, how do we come to a solution with it? Because the bottom line is, you're going to find law enforcement, especially anybody like Ty and myself in our era, that wouldn't have happened. You're not fighting us, and if you did swing on us, because we may have all got into altercations, but it didn't work out well for the person that fought us. And I could just leave that there. Right now, people are taping people fighting law enforcement, and they're showing them getting the best of law enforcement, like it's a badge of honor. And my thing is, if you're feeling that comfortable to do that, are you that disrespectful at home? Because if you're fighting somebody that has a gun that could take your life, and that's a servant of the law, then what are you doing at home? Like, where's the boundaries? Go ahead, Ty. I yield back. Go ahead. Come on.
Um, yeah, like you said it. The cameras are definitely giving the people the leeway to do a lot of what we see going on. But I think, like you said, also a lot of it's home training. A lot of individuals are coming from homes where certain values and principles aren't instilled in them because, growing up, uh, we were taught to respect the police, and and to treat them a certain way, and that they were our friend. And it wasn't until we got older and we saw some of the things that they had done or were doing that we realized we were able to differentiate between the two and uh, basically act differently in certain situations, but we still didn't get out of hand like you see a lot of the generation now getting out of hand.
Yeah,
Let
I
me
mean,
know.
and that's crazy to me, Ty. Like, and they videotape it and they show, and it's so sad because I've sent certain videos like that. Like we'll share videos amongst us, and I've had people, John and Jane Q Public, be like, "Yo, the officer could have shot him. What was he thinking?" And I'm like,
Hmm.
"Yeah," but and then he would have been like, "Yo, they would have been justified in doing that." But the bottom
Hmm.
line is, you know, you see an officer on a train, on a platform, well, not on a platform, outside at those outside stations, like those 6 and 4, 5 trains, and you see two guys wailing on him, beating him. When I was watching that, the first thing I thought, and anybody who hasn't seen it, I wish I would have set it up to show it to you. If anybody who hasn't seen it, the first thing I thought was, damn, one of those guys tried to pick him up and throw him over that. You know what I'm trying to say? And that scared me. And then you see about the lieutenant on the train and he getting beat up. Like it's showing a lack of. I don't know if officers are tentative or passive to fight back now. I don't know what's going on, but I know there's a problem out here. AJ said these young men are tired of seeing police kill innocent people, and they're fighting police for anger. It's not right, but this is a new generation. AJ, I get that, but let me just say this, and I'll bring Ty in on this. Ty and I have gone and extensively, multiple times, partnered up and speak at schools for years together. And when we have a segment when we give them an assignment about people that have been shot or killed by law enforcement. And correct me if I'm wrong, Tom, I'll bring you in. They don't even know who those individuals are. So what you're saying, I get it. but they don't know. They don't know because they really don't. It's just what they hear. Police are ops. The oppositions, and they're just. I'm tired of the police. They're hearing it from somebody else and stuff of that magnitude. And I get it because I wanted to know, are people really tired of seeing that? But AJ, I get, but I don't think they know. Come in, Ty, and I'll bring Chuck in too. That's what
He doesn't think they know what.
No,
I can't read what AJ's saying.
he says these young people, um, these young men are tired of seeing police kill innocent people, and they're fighting police from anger. It's not right, but this is a new generation. And like I said, I understand that, but I don't see that because when you and I have done, and I've done it with Chuck, you and I've Chuck, like when you and I have done exercises, the last group that we did an exercise, we gave them all like those faces and names, and Ty, none of them knew who those people were. We had to give them a synopsis on who the person was and how they got killed by law enforcement, and then we had to go in and do our exercise. So what I'm saying with AJ is, I understand that if that was, at a certain time, but I just think people right now are just fighting law enforcement because it's part of the fact. I'll let you comment and then I'll bring Chuck in. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, when you see individuals in society fighting the law enforcement, is because of of the air right now, and a lot of them feel like that they can turn around and be disrespectful because they're not being punished for doing that. Like years ago, you wouldn't do that because officers would actually wail on you in those situations. I'm gonna be very transparent with you. In almost 30 years of law enforcement, and when I did do enforcement, I had one individual fight me back, and part of the reason for that is I think I learned early on that when you treat people with a certain level of respect, whether you arrest them or not, doesn't matter what crime they committed, as long as you don't take away their self-respect and their dignity, and they understand that if they're being arrested, they're gonna go. But when you have certain officers approach people a certain way, like the speakers taught the person who asked the question, AJ, he's saying basically, oh, they're tired of being treated that way. Well, the majority of cops aren't treating them that way. What you're seeing is individuals acting out, and they're acting out before the officers even get an opportunity to treat them with a level of respect. And then you have those situations where people retaliate, and it's going to cause a bigger problem in the long run.
Yeah, definitely. I'm gonna bring Chuck in. Chuck, I think I gave you the brief a synopsis of what the topic is, but basically, we're talking about right now, and we can understand, like, we're all gentlemen of a seasoned age. We've heard about what the man has done in the past, and from the Black Panthers and things, and we've even spoken out extensively on what we see in just police interaction with law enforcement. I mean, police interaction with the community. But right now, it just seems like law enforcement is taking it on the chin because everybody now is fighting just because they can with law enforcement. And then you got the DA in the Bronx declining to prosecute. Like, that's bonkers to me when you're sitting here wailing out on an officer 2-on-1 and you don't even do anything about it. What's your thoughts on it? And where are we going with this?
Well, once again, man, based on a lot of the legislative changes, administratively, on the legal side, judicial side, that have put a lot of the police officers or law enforcement in itself, it's kind of handcuffed them in a lot of ways. And unfortunately, once you let the genie out of the bottle, it's kind of hard to put it back. And what people are starting to understand, or rather what they're not looking at, is that if in fact the police are incapable of doing their job without also worrying about the possibility of being sued for doing their job, that it impacts greatly on the community itself.
Mm-hmm.
There's a rise in crime associated with even officers because of the fact they know they're supposed to take certain corrective measures associated with any type of crime, and they're hesitant. Right? They think twice prior to taking any type of measures, which they know legally that they can do so, but they're apprehensive. So if in fact the police are incapable of doing their job, it's a trickle down effect, and it will affect the issues associated within the community. Now, these egregious attacks on police officers, just because, I mean, we started to see a lot of it directly related during the summer months when police officers were just sitting out going to a, let's say, a radio run, and they were getting water doused on them, right?
Mm-hmm.
That was the start of it, because based on the legislative changes and the way that the police was being looked at, and once again, it's a trickle effect because of, let's say, something that happened, let's say, directly to the issues that at the time associated with a lot of the egregious actions that were happening with other police departments, George Floyd, other heinous acts by police officers in other states. And even if the New York City Police Department wasn't creating or doing those particular acts, it was a it was a black eye to law enforcement across the board.
Mm-hmm.
And then when they changed everything legislatively, it's stated here in city of New York in terms of, bail reform, once again, you're handcuffing the police department. And now it started very slowly with just people taking it upon themselves saying, well, nah, you can't do anything. I'm going to douse you with water. I'm going to throw stuff on you. There's nothing to do. I can call you out of your name. I can say whatever the hell I want. And guess what? There's nothing you can do about it. And now, when in fact it's now ballooned to the fact that the crime level directly here in the city has ballooned to the point where I'm worried about my mother walking out of her building just to go to the corner store to get a loaf of bread. And that's because the police department isn't being put in a position to enforce and to do their job without any jurisprudence and without having to be worried about, if they take certain actions, how the community, or for that reason, someone with a cell phone, is going to perceive it. So it, it's bad all around. It's just not just bad for the police officers, but it impacts negatively on the community as well.
Absolutely. Ty, you want to piggyback before I read a question? Ty, you got us? Mm-hmm. Ty, can you hear us? You can't hear us? All right. I'm going to ask this question to you, Chuck. And Ty, if you can hear it, chime in. AJ says, are some cops afraid to do their jobs because of this new wave of violence against them? I guess that's a opinionated question.
Yeah, I would say that, like, for instance, there's been a lot of footage that you have sent me on numerous occasions where you could see that the officers were afraid to even bring someone to the ground. Like, they
Right.
know the only way in order to subdue this person, to get them under control, was to bring them to the ground. But instead, they would rather scrapple with them up against a wall and try to put their hands behind their back. When we always knew the only way to get control of any perp is once you sweep his feet from underneath him and get him on the ground, now you can
Absolutely.
get control of him. And that being said, yes, there are a lot of officers, like I said before, with not just legislatively, but just the mere fact of the way that they're perceived publicly, they're afraid of doing their jobs. They're afraid of taking that type of action when in actuality, it's prudent for them to do so. And
Yeah.
because of that apprehension, once again, other officers, even when they're put in that position, let's say, for instance, the lieutenant, I think his name is Pichardo, who actually was one of my cops when I was in the 4-6. He was in my platoon. So to
Mm.
see him in a position of working in the 4-6 as a police officer and now being a lieutenant, I'm not saying for argument's sake that he may have been lax in regards to his approach, but him coming from let's say working in the 4-6, I'm sorry, we used to tangle with people all the time in the 4-6. There are
Absolutely.
people that just did. It's between the 4-4 and the 4-6, and let's say the 5-2. The 5-0. You're talking about 9 times out of 10, you're probably gonna have to put your hands on someone. So for him to have put himself in a position that occurred, I kind of find that a little disconcerting. But nonetheless, there are a lot of officers that are going to be very apprehensive of wanting to take any corrective measures based on the public's view of law enforcement at this particular point. They'd rather be put themselves in a position to possibly get punched in the face as long as they can keep their job. I'm sorry.
Absolutely. Yeah,
Ain't
that's not
nobody
happening.
punching me in the face. I'm knocking somebody's teeth out. I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
That's not happening on our watch. Ty,
No.
can you hear us?
I think the climate of what is going on in the way they're instructing a lot of the recruits, the officers now, is they're teaching them to not fight back in certain situations, which is crazy. Where I know when we came through, it was more so about getting home safe and not worrying about getting sued. You're like, look, you're indemnified. Just do your job properly and let that work itself out later on. But now I think it's kind of the reverse because of what's transpired. And to be honest with you, I think what has happened is I think it's become confusing to the officer as well. And for one or two reasons. One, because individuals who might be teaching or training the officers now don't come from this environment. So a lot of them don't really understand or really want to understand how to interact in the inner city environment. They just want to come in and do their job and leave. And then you have those that do come from this climate and do know how to interact. But if they're new, they're being trained according to the customs of what is being taught to the officer now. And a lot of it has to do with a lot of them are scared of being sued. But we didn't have to worry about that. And it wasn't just because of indemnification. It was more so that we knew if we're fighting somebody, we're defending ourselves or fighting for our life. We're not just whipping on somebody just because they're being disrespectful or being abusive. They put their hands on you. You had to do what you had to do.
Yeah, I mean, just to piggyback off what you're saying, I'm gonna read a comment in a statement, a question. Chuck, and this, Ty, this. I mean, we've all worked in organized crime. Very seldom did I have to put my hands on somebody just because I wanted to put my hands on them. Either they didn't want to go to jail because they knew they was looking at something very long, you know what I'm saying, as in time, or they didn't understand, or they act like, oh, I didn't know you was an officer because you were in plain clothes. So they had to get taught that I was an officer at that time. But the bottom line is, I never went out there, and I'm sure you guys, because I've known you guys for years, we never went out there with the mental of I'm busting somebody's A today. That wasn't our thought process. Or I want to go out here and fight today. Hell no, because Ty, you and I damn near was trying to go to a party after we was working anyway. So the last thing I was I hold. You know what I'm saying? The last thing.
Don't let Chuck downplay. He was trying to go too.
Oh no! Oh listen. Trust me, I was. That's what I said. I was
he was in the cut somewhere, and you didn't even know he was in there, and he cut something. So don't let Chuck front and be quiet.
Listen, I know Chuck for a long time.
Store. Yeah. Chuck is deep on that store right there. Okay.
Chuck, I'll ghost you at your own spot. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Before there was a Frankie Clark on the radio, there was a Chuck. You know what I'm saying? I'm sorry, Chuck. I gotta respect him. He became a lieutenant. I gotta respect him.
And the funny thing is, we all knew we were doing a Christmas party, the 2A Christmas party at the Armory. Everybody.
No, you never saw Chuck at the 2A. He was there, but you never saw him. Okay, believe me, he was there.
Trust me.
Only reason I knew Chuck was there because if I was looking for somebody in particular, I know Chuck was there. I wasn't supposed to do this, so I'm sorry, bro. I'm sorry.
Yo,
Let's be serious. Let's be serious.
I gotta tell you a real story. We was at a function, and Chuck hit me up later on, like the next day. He was like, "Yo, I saw you. I didn't get a chance to say hi. Blah blah blah." I said, "What?" And now here I'm thinking I'm the ultimate ghost, and he ghosted me.
He ghosting you, all right. He ghosting you. Believe me. They go my man over there. You know, they go my man over there. Yeah. But I'll talk to him another time.
Yo, Todd. Yo, he would be next to a podium like this, right? Like.
Yeah.
Like, that's you? Oh, yo, what's up? Shout out to my man Chuck Richards, man. Yo.
Oh man.
Hold on. Let me read these questions and comments. Yo, listen, real talk. We're gonna keep it 100. We're gonna have laughs with it. We're gonna have some laughs with it, B. So Michelle asked, she says, okay, hold on. She asked 2 questions. So let me just say, first and foremost, she said, I think I answered it. She said, officers trained in self-defense? No, they're not. Along with Kevin, and I'm assuming Chuck and Tom may agree with this. I feel there should be some kind of training. When we went through the academy, either you knew how to fight because from your neighborhood, or, you know, I mean, that's why I think a lot of times people don't understand when we always said being a person of color or somebody, we was taught not to be a punk. I don't care who you were growing up in the inner city. Your parents told you, especially our generation, don't let nobody come home and take something from you, or to come home and tell me that you got hit and you didn't do anything, you didn't fight back. You didn't have to be a formal fighter, but you fought because the bottom line is it was about don't disrespect me. So I think that was the epitome, the essence of being a good police officer. You're not in there trying to escalate anything, but you'll tell a person in a minute that, yo, don't do that. I'm not the one. You know what I'm saying? Because now it got back to that, yo, I'll bust you, you know what? Like, listen, knock it off. You know, now I'm sure people may have had some kind of training. You know, me, I've did it extensively, but I came into the police department already a black belt. So I mean, that was my thing. And it just, I kept growing and growing. But I mean, the average person, you know, knows how to handle their own business because you fought somebody, your best friend, your brother, your sister, you know what I'm saying? You fought somebody on a basketball court, pushing, shoving. You swung at somebody, even if somebody broke it up. So you weren't scared to tangle. And like I said, there was and I'm talking about all ethnicities. You were taught from the old school era, like, don't let anybody punk you. So she says, the cop who was jumped by 2 guys on the train, it seems he didn't have any training, even though he was able to get the arrest. Yeah, I mean, I guess, you know, when you up that high, because, you know, when I was looking at that from a tactical standpoint, all I'm thinking is, I hope these young kids don't pick him up and throw him over. That's all I kept thinking. I didn't think about anything else. Like, I saw it because he was just trying to hold on for dear life at one point. And then other officer came and, you know, he finally got the arrest. But yo, all I'm thinking is like, oh my God, if these cats are wailing at him so hard, boom, they're going to pick him up and throw him up, because they were in a fit of rage. They were just like, you know, when they became the aggressor, you know what I'm saying? So I looked at that like they were the aggressor. You know, Dwayne said police officers are no longer proactively policing because they will no longer be indemnified. That's a good point. I mean, which like Chuck, I think you addressed that. You and Ty addressed that about you know, people feeling like you can lose your house and your home over doing something, you know, and I think they're second guessing in the law. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Like we was able to spew out the law, and then even if we didn't, we went back We knew enough to arrest you and put you in cuffs. And then we went to that penal law. When we made arrests, that penal law was right there at the police station. You know what I'm saying? In the arrest room. If you had to look up a charge. I remember that. AJ said, I have to run, but I want to thank you, Bill, and all your guests, the officers that I had met from your podcast, and outstanding people. Happy holidays to you all. Appreciate you, AJ. Happy holidays. Chad, what's up, brother?
Can I?
Go ahead, Ty. Go ahead.
I wanted to interject real quick, and I don't know if there's individuals on the podcast from a younger generation. If they're not, then maybe some from our generation older can relate. So what started to happen in society that people weren't really paying attention to was how parents, if and how they will discipline their children. And then you that age came where it was all about timeout, and they weren't disciplining their children other than putting them on a timeout, or they weren't giving out spankings anymore. And I could tell you from firsthand experience, before I retired, I was going in at least once a month when they would have a class and teach the housing recruits about how to identify undercovers and law enforcement while they were working in housing. And I would also talk to them about, what I did in my unit. But I would always take a census of the individuals in the room, and it'd be maybe between 30 and 40 recruits. And by a show of hands, I would say, how many individuals in here have been in a physical altercation or fight ever in their life?
Right.
Out of 30, maybe 4 would raise their hand.
Right.
So there lies part of the problem. If you've never been in a physical altercation and somebody holds off and hooks off on you and catches you in the face or in the chest or wherever, somewhere it hurts, you're first of all, you're not going to have the reflex of somebody who's used to fighting. And you don't have to be a trained fighter like yourself, Bill, but they're not going to have the reflex. And their reaction, even though everyone's in fear of something, their reaction could totally psych them out of doing their job. And I'm not making excuses for the individuals that are out there. I'm just telling you that it's all part of a mindset. Doing the whole job is part of a mindset. And if you don't have a certain mindset while you're out there doing the job, you're lost. And I partly blame the upbringing of a lot of these kids in the younger generation for how they are, and they're out there now being the police.
No, I totally get it. And let me just say this. It's so funny. You train in anything. I mean, we've all played basketball, or some kind of sports in a structured environment to make the game easier for you. In fighting, you train so you never have to fight in case you have to. But it goes all back to what both of you were saying. The bottom line is, listen, I never, ever wanted to put my hands on anybody because I'm going to tell you something. But I remember when I did get hit, it was like, oh, you know what I'm saying? Like, oh, this dude punched me in my mouth. You know what I'm saying? Like, whoa. Then the dude from 141st Street comes out. You know what I'm saying? Like I ain't even think about PD now. It's personal. I'm like, yo, I can't go out with no bloody lip. My shit rise a little risen. Because the bottom line is the aftermath is yo, you got hit. You know what I'm trying to say? You can't be in no club talking about yo, what happened? You talking to somebody in your shit, up here like that. it just ain't a good look. So he done messed up my whole plans for about a week or 2 weeks. I say all that to say with humor. My man Chad, shout out to Narco Ranger, my man Chad. He said, yo, great points by everybody. Point is, do the job right. Do the job right and let it be sorted out regardless. If you're on camera or not, getting home is the ultimate goal, brother. Happy holidays to you. Shout out to you. Absolutely. Let me tell you something. That's the one thing that we need to be taught and said again. Go home. let the court system deal with it. You know what I'm saying? Or let the powers that be. Because the bottom line is, if we're sitting there second guessing, I mean, think about us. We've all came on this job, and this is the one thing I'm sure we've all been taught this. Don't bring that gun out unless you got a damn good reason to use it. We've all been gun shy at that. You know what I'm saying? Like, I may have pulled out that gun second guessing, like, man, am I going to shoot this cat? Am I going to shoot? But the bottom line is, if I reach, I mean, think about it. I've never fired my firearm during working hours. It's like, and people, please don't read into that shit, because y'all take that shit somewhere else. But you know what I'm saying? But when I pulled it out, it really a lot of times was more intimidation factor when we was around somebody and we had them in kind of like in a corner, like a rat in a corner. You know, like, don't come out now. You'll get shot. But you know, damn near, I didn't want to shoot. Let me see your hands and all that. But God forbid I'd ever wanted to use that. I had to shout out some people in the building. My man Cheese Johnson, former NBA player, bro, from around the way. Cheese, don't come back into Harlem anymore, and don't call me. I'm gonna be a little annoyed with you. But I appreciate you, big bro. My man, Cheese Johnson. Shout out to everybody. LaShunda, John, you know. Miss Weathers, what's going on? Where's Mo at? So let me read some more comments.
Mo should be down here with me.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Exactly. Okay, you knew that. I was gonna keep that little secret. Yeah. Dave said, when did they stop teaching self-defense in the academy? I personally, I've never seen self-defense taught in the academy. I don't know if Chuck doing something I didn't see. You know, I know Chuck at one time you was in the academy teaching and stuff like that, working out. But let me tell you something. The only thing they taught you how to do was speed cuff, because I know
they let you hit the bag. They let you hit that, not the bag, not the punching bag, but it was like a blue bag that they let you hit your baton against. But they never taught you.
It's one of those blue defensive pads. It's like a defensive pad.
Yes. That was it. But they didn't teach you any sort of self-defense.
Nah. Yep. Richie Rogers, I see you in the building. Michelle said, why aren't they taught self-defense? Chuck, you want to take a stab at it in time? You can follow up.
I was speaking of just based on lawsuits, because you got people sparring with one another and they get knocked out and go, oh my God, my daughter, that's what it is. No, seriously, and that's what it came down to.
It is,
you know. Yeah, they get knocked out in the gym and all of a sudden they go to the hospital. But just in order to reduce liabilities and lawsuits, they said, okay, we need to water down the particular self-defense or anything having to do with that. And that's what it comes down to. And it's unfortunate because, you know, as Ty and as well as Bill said very clearly, you know, unless you've grown up in an environment where you used to scrap, you should know how to, you know, use your hands to some degree. You don't have to be a martial artist, but if you came through, let's say that, we're all pretty much on the same age. If you didn't scrap, guess what? You got scrapped up. So exactly. You better learn very quickly. Yep. You know what I'm saying? No, that's what it comes down to, right? You either you get scrapped, you get scrapped up. So you better learn quick, fast, in a hurry, because otherwise you're not going to survive out here, you know. And just being a kid going through elementary, junior high school, you better learn to do something, because otherwise you're going to be the epitome of everyone's freaking jokes. You're going to get dragged and people are going to talk. No, you're not trying to. You need to respect me. So, like I said, either you scrap or you get scrapped up, you know?
Yeah. We were taught, our parents taught us not to be punks. That was the ultimate. Don't come home crying, talk about somebody hit you and you didn't hit them back. That was, listen, you would get annihilated in your own home. And then they take you up to school and fight.
Our parents let us see how it felt to get hit. Because you acted up, and your parents hit you first, so you already knew what it was like to get hit, and you didn't want to get hit again. So now, when you went outside to play, and somebody act like they want to fight you, you ain't letting nobody hit you like your parents hit you. So you're gonna do something.
I think what was the line with you? Hold on, man. You ain't my mama. You ain't my dad. Remember that? Don't put your hands on me. You ain't my mother. You ain't my father. That was the mentality, man. It's the truth.
Exactly.
Yo, word.
Exactly.
That's when you know an ass whooping was close. Because somebody say, yo, you ain't my mama, you ain't my daddy. You be like, oh, word. We had to go there.
I'm serious. Yeah, remember that? Like,
Yo,
what? Yeah, my mom, like that.
yo,
No.
let me read a comment. Miss Butler's in the building. How are you, sis? I guess you're waiting for he's coming home in a few minutes, right, Ty? Shout out to my man Wendell in the building. Shout out my old Hollows brother, a bad ball player, correction officer. Prentice in the building. Basabi, I see you in the building. Shout out Serge. We got a lot of nice law enforcement in the building. John Taylor, I see you. My man Lonnie Cox says, he says, I don't know if it's a trend or not, but my thoughts are that these young folks only see the videos on social media of officers overstepping their boundaries, and the whole is being scrutinized by the few officers that have done their job the wrong way. I have an incident a couple of years back when an officer from the 3-2 tried to arrest a friend of mine, and he was being aggressive, and I stepped in and knocked his hands off my friend and said, this is not happening today. Let me read the rest of it. I stood in between my friend and him. Oh, well, I mean, Lonnie, yo, that's very admirable and noble of you.
But you're lucky.
I wouldn't suggest that, but I mean,
I wouldn't recommend that.
Yeah.
That's not cool.
Yeah,
No, that's not cool. No.
That officer must have really been a little soft. Because there's no way in hell you would have knocked my hand off of a person. I don't.
You would have been going too.
Yeah,
exactly. Yeah. Lonnie would have been going too.
Because I'd have been like, yo, that's not happening. Like, because right now you just showed that I can be pumped. You know what I'm trying to say? And I'm not saying your cause. You saw something that wasn't right. And we're not talking about you standing up for injustice. I get that. You my dude. I rock with you. But I just felt like there's a time and a place, you know, officer, chill. Because you know what I'm saying? Once you put your hand on the officer, yeah, that's open up for you to get involved in it. You know what I'm trying to say?
Sure.
Yeah. So what's up, Nicole? What's up, Wasabi? You know, McCabe, I'm sorry. Patricia, former 2-8 in the building. I got 2-8 in here strong. Roscoe's in the building, everybody. Roscoe is in the building. Shout out to our Narco brother. He's in the building. Happy holidays. Roscoe said, professionalism, taking things seriously, and being responsible is gone. Long gone. This world we live in is soft-skinned. Very soft-skinned. I'm not it. My man Dave Pryor, he says, I knew Al Gauthier, who taught at the academy. Yeah, I knew Al, but that was many years ago. Absolutely. You know, but you know what's so funny? Let me just say this. What I would teach privately, and I'm just going to use Chuck and Ty for example. What I would teach them privately, you couldn't teach in an academy. You understand what I'm trying to say? Because what I'm going to teach them is really problematic for somebody that encounters them. You understand what I'm saying? We got a saying in the martial arts: you practice one move 1,000 times instead of 1,000 moves one time. You understand what I'm saying? You want that one move to work. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're both ball players. We're all athletes at one point in time. We all got our go-to move that we know that's going to get us to the rim, or that touchdown move, that shake or whatever, or a baseball move. We all have that. And it's the same thing with fighting and anything of that magnitude. But what I'm trying to say, in the academy, basically, they need to teach these officers. And, you know, we could talk about de-escalating, but that's gone out the window when we see that the altercation is there. There's no de-escalating when somebody's swinging at you. The de-escalation is gone. So right now, if that's 101 de-escalating. Let's think about 2. What do we do when we get into the altercation? You understand what I'm trying to say? I employ anybody that's in law enforcement to take some kind of self-defense, because the bottom line is, even if you never have to touch anybody in self-defense, you feel good. I mean, think about it. All you guys, and I go back to playing sports. When you practice with a team, when you went and played against the dudes in the park, you was better than them because you were playing regularly and you were honing your skills. So that's just the moral of my thing with that. And you know, we have to understand that. Let me see, Kevin Punter, he said, happy Thanksgiving weekend to you and your family, Bill. Continue blessing. Appreciate you.
Let me say this, Bill, real quick. Right?
Please.
I agree with Chuck, right? And I know, because I've heard it before, why they weren't teaching self-defense, because of fear of lawsuits and individuals who couldn't handle certain self-defense classes and would get hit or hurt, and then they, you know, find a reason not to show up or whatever it was. But here's my thing. When you teach someone the art of self-defense, karate or jiu-jitsu, whether it's basketball, football, hockey, baseball, what are you really teaching an individual? You're teaching them instincts.
Yes.
You're teaching them an instinct to react in a certain way in a certain situation. And they can do that in the police academy. The same way they do it, where they teach you instincts for if you get into a shootout. You remember, if your gun jams, what is it? Is work, rip, whatever, you know, it's an instinct. And I'm going to tell you from firsthand experience from being in a shootout and my gun jamming, that my instinct wasn't to stand there with a gun that wasn't firing. I ran around the car, cleared it, and came up after I cleared it. And I cleared it the same way the instinct was instilled in me. So with that being said, I don't know what they got to do, but they need to find a way to teach the instinct of fighting or defending themselves to these officers coming in, because the majority of them have never been in a physical altercation, and they're going to get themselves seriously hurt. That lieutenant got his nose broken, all right, the other day on the train. Come on.
That's crazy.
First of all, you ain't even supposed to be able to get to a lieutenant when you got other officers around. So, like, I'm still not even understanding that, but, you know, it is what it is.
Understand, like you said, Ty, that's a very great point. There's a chain of command of ass whipping. You're supposed to go through the officers, then to the sergeant, then to the lieutenant.
And then to the lieutenant.
And then,
like me, if I work with Chuck when he was a detective, I wouldn't know that he had instinct to fight, you know, because he's a lieutenant, you know, but I know because I worked with him.
Yeah, listen. That's everybody. You're having a Real Talk Chronicles moment. You're having an RTC moment. We're laughing at behind the scenes that we can't tell you, because it's what we've done. Because the bottom line is, you're supposed to walk these streets with love and hello. I mean, the bottom line is, like I said, I tell anybody, I've never touched anybody that didn't ask me to touch them. You know what I'm trying to say? I never touched anybody. And I took pride in that. I took more pride in de-escalating the situation. I mean, and that's when I was in uniform. It was all about the de-escalation. When we was working in organized crime, there wasn't no de-escalation. Yo,
no.
What? I'm not going to jail. You're swinging. We in the building. You got to get it.
But most times, if you didn't, it was all in your approach too. If you didn't approach somebody in a way where they couldn't run, they were running, and you would have to run. You know, so it was all about moving in. That's why individuals like us were able to move in where individuals couldn't run, because we look like we belong. So we just walk up, and before they knew it, they was under arrest. You know,
they be like, ah, damn.
There's nowhere to go. You already got your hand on that arm They not swinging on you because they're like, oh, man, it's too late. It's too late.
Yo, they got mad because they got bamboozled. Like, oh, I was like, oh, you.
Right. Exactly. Like, oh man.
Yo, they was like, oh, damn.
Yeah.
Yo,
Yeah.
man, Chet said, he said,
Yeah.
surprises when cats think that the pilgrim and the Indian going to jump off that shield and fight for you. Not everyone is intimidated by the badge, uniform, and gun. Come ready and correct. Well, you know, you're right about that now, because right now, that uniform means absolutely almost like 5%. I think it's good for the old person right now that's trying to cross the street or maybe at a traffic site. But right now, being law enforcement, yo, you tell somebody, yo, I'm law enforcement. So, like, I don't see a cop with any kind of like prestige and stuff like that. I was talking to some cops about something one day. They was at the brunch party. They was outside. They was like, yo, my camera's on. So, okay, what you thought I was going to ask you and tell you to do? Like, yo, don't panic. Like,
they thought you were going to tell them come have a drink or something. Come on, like, really? Come on,
yeah, like
really?
Come on. I was really trying to tell you I got it. This like what do you need me to do for you? But you know, you panic on me and stuff like that. My man Lonnie says, he said, guys, I wasn't thinking at the time, just reacting. I was ready to go because the officer was trying to arrest him for BS. It happened again. It won't happen again, guys. I appreciate that. And I get that, Lonnie. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes we see emotions in each other. Kenny, what's up, my brother? Roscoe says, you can't make a sucker into a soldier, period.
That's Roscoe. That is Roscoe talking.
That's my guy.
And he put it in plain language. Thank you, Roscoe.
Yeah, that'll work. Work.
Yo, Roscoe, I'm rocking with that now. When you hear me say that again, you know I got it from you. I'm gonna give you props on it. I have no problems giving flowers where they belong, brother. I'm gonna read it again, and I'm gonna read it slow and articulated. Roscoe said, "You can't make a sucker into a soldier." Period. And in capital letters. He said soft before the job means soft on the job. Y'all know a lot of suckers y'all work with. Come on, man. Absolutely. Yo, game is over. Yo, like Vince Carter after the dunk contest. Yo,
it's over. That's right,
that, bro.
Triple tens all over the place.
Yo, let me tell you something. Roscoe said, Ty, stop being a nice politician. LL, cut to the chase. A sucker is a sucker.
Oh, shit.
Yo, listen. Yo, we got Rich chiming in. And yo, you know what he says? He said, yo, Bill, yo, knock it off. He said, you beat a lot of, you know what? You beat a lot of people up. Yeah, I'm not gonna use the word. You know, he used the N word. He said, "Yo, you beat a lot of people up." I'm not gonna claim that right now. He said, "We need a lot of." Michelle said, "We need a lot of RoboCops. We need a lot of things right there. Articulation is the key." Right out, Roscoe. I agree, Roscoe. Yo, fellas, this is a great thing. It's Thanksgiving Eve. I know y'all guys about to get out of here. I want y'all to get out of here and do what it is. We're going next Monday. I got the CEO. The Daily Arts of Survival magazine. A lot of guys. It's the #1 martial arts magazine in the country. It's going to be Black owned. I had the pleasure of being in it. Thank you, Sensei Ingram. It would be a wonderful interview. Hopefully we'll be back next Wednesday, fellas, and chop it up on some more stuff and whatever we want to talk about.
Absolutely.
Winding down the new year, winding down this old year, heading into the new year. But before we get out of here, what's up, Pierre, Oscar? I forgot to shout you out, brother. And shout out to all the law enforcement that was in here from to and from Atlanta to all over North Carolina and every place. But, since it is the eve of Thanksgiving, fellas, I'll start with you, Ty. Whatever you're thankful for. Have a thank you, and then go to you, Chuck. Go ahead.
I'm thankful for family and the fact that I was able to get through my career with surrounded by positive and individuals like yourselves and even Roscoe, and it helped get me through. But I'm gonna leave you with this, right? Attitude, meaning the attitude of an individual, meaning the cop or the individual they're dealing with, is going to determine their approach. And however they approach them is going to determine the result they're going to get out of it, whether it's going to be someone fighting, tussling, or someone who's just going to go along and conform to whatever they're asking them to do without a problem. All right. Happy Thanksgiving to all.
Yeah. Chuck?
Brother, life itself, man. Life in itself is a gift, man. We need to take that very seriously. It's precious to all of us, and it means something to everyone who walks this earth. So for me personally, man, just being up and being able to get up every morning and see the sunrise is always a blessing, man. So we have to understand we got to love the little things, so the larger things mean a lot to us. All right. So peace and blessings to everybody, man. Have a very healthy and a safe Thanksgiving. And I hope to see you brothers and speak to you again soon.
Absolutely. Everybody. Hey, Diana Hayes, I appreciate you. Shout out to everybody that's chiming in. Thank you for all the holiday wishes. Rich said happy holidays, brothers. Happy Thanksgiving to everybody. Listen, I just want to say I'm thankful to my brothers for always holding down, being a part of anything that I'm trying to do, and vice versa. I'm part of you for taking time out your day to sit here and listen to what I have to say and what these brothers have to say, because that means you're listening. That means you respect our opinion, because you wouldn't listen if you didn't respect it. I'm thankful for, like it's always saying, a wake up. I'm all about the positive energy, the vibes. I'm thankful that the God has given me a chance to pray and wish well upon others, and hopefully to see a better day. You know what I'm saying? I think we're all, the three of us, especially, and of course Rich, we've been put on this earth to, it's like another career, a third career, to be vessels for information for those that are not privy to information. And I'm thankful that I can do that. I take that humbly. I walk humble, unless you say something slick, then you got to get them hands. Let me stop and say, I just had to throw a little joke in there, but no, I say that with all due respect. I appreciate you. Hey, Sarah, everybody. Happy Thanksgiving, happy holidays. Monday, I'll be back with Nathan Ingram. Wednesday, we'll be back. But enjoy turkey. I hope you got the Peloton and walk it off. Take care of your health. Just, I know it's a season to eat and pig out, but come on, do it in moderation, and don't hog up the bathroom. If you got a lot of people at the home, get up and get out of that joint. Happy Thanksgiving, everybody. My guys.
Peace and blessings, brother.
Take care. Peace and
All right,
blessings.
peace.
All right. Later.
I appreciate y'all, my guys.